All right, how's everybody doing? This is the Comic Samurai. I want to welcome you to my next video, and tonight we're going to be doing something a little bit different. Tonight I want to look at my favorite comic book covers that feature a kiss. So let's go ahead and jump right in. First up, we got this Justice League number 12, and it's got a beautiful Jim Lee cover, and it features Superman sharing a kiss with Wonder Woman. And her lasso is also wrapped around him, so it's kind of a twofer. You got a bondage cover there too. Next up, we got DC Comics Presents number 32, and this is another one that features Superman and Wonder Woman kissing. Of all the major characters, I've found that those are the two big names that more often than not share a kiss, and I believe this is their first cover kiss in comic book history. Let me know, though, if there's an earlier one. I know they do kiss in a Superman's girlfriend Lois Lane comic, but it's not shown on the cover. So let's move it on. Next up, we got Action Comics number 593. And artists do like to show that Superman character locking lips with other characters. And in this one, he's kissing Mr. Miracle's wife, Big Barda, and it's done by John Byrne. And this is one of my favorite images here. I really like that one. Next up, we got Justice League Cry for Justice number 5. And this is a beautiful cover. If you haven't read this series, it really is just an interesting, well-drawn series. Oh, every panel of this one is beautiful, but this cover features Captain Marvel Jr. kissing the new Supergirl. They kind of had a romance budding here, but it's just a great kissing image. Next up, we got JSA number 25. And speaking of great images of two characters sharing a moment is this one with Hawkman and Hawkgirl. Now, if there's any two DC characters that were made for each other, it's these two. And they kind of got separated, and it was convoluted and went back in time, and they ended up finally hooking up in this one, although they still have to work a lot of things out, but they share a kiss on this cover. Next up, we got Titans, our Blackest Night, Titans number 1. And this is kind of an interesting comic because it tells a story. This is a kiss between Beast Boy and Terra. Now, they had a relationship in the early New Teen Titans series, but then Terra died. And this is when she came back, and it kind of screwed up Gar, Beast Boy, and they shared a kiss here. But, ooh, she's evil, and you can see that in the image here. Next up, we got Preacher, number 54. And I had to show a Glenn Fabry kiss on this series, and this is Tulip and Jesse Custer. And there's a lot of arse face, little cupids floating around, but the main image of those two is really just a beautiful image of them sharing a moment. Next up, we got The Boys, number 17. And if you read this series, this image should crack a smile on your face, because you know that there's more than just a kiss going on. There's some interesting things that happen the next morning because of that kiss and what happened that night, and the heart and the blood dripping there. It really is quite comical and quite dirty. I'd never seen that issue dealt with in comic books. And if you've read this, let me know, because when I went through this one for the first time, I was shocked by it. I couldn't believe Garth Ennis broached this subject that this comic book raises, but it's a great kissing cover, and it is hysterical if you know what goes on in the comic book also. Next up is Sex Criminals number 3, and I really like this image. It's the boiled down kiss image on a comic book, kind of a riff on that Spider-Man image of him when he was hanging upside down kissing Mary Jane. This one is two comic characters who are just silhouetted. Their bodies are in blue, and it's just, like I said, the most watered down, graphically done kiss on a comic book cover that I could find. And if you haven't read the Sex Criminals series, it really is underrated. It really does approach the subjects of sexuality and things that people deal with in a realistic way, and it opens the doors to everybody. It's very non-judgmental. I really like that series. Next up is Battlefield's Dear Billy, part 1 of 3. And this has got a beautiful cover done by John Cassaday. And he always does great images. So I was really curious to see his take on a kiss. And this whole Battlefield series was such good World War II series that's reminiscent of that Life magazine cover where the sailor's coming home and it's V-Day and the end of World War II, and it's summed up in this comic book, done in black and white. What a great cover this one is. Next up, we got Coyote number 11. And when I show this cover, it'll really tell you if you're a comic book fan or not. If you see this and you recognize it as Todd McFarlane's first published work. Now, he didn't do the cover, but his work is done inside here, and it's his first professional work. So this kissing cover really should catch your eye and mark, this is Todd McFarlane's first work. And it's a great cover, actually. I like that series. Next up, we got Excalibur number 70. And if there's one character who doesn't get nearly enough love, it's Nightcrawler, and he's sharing a kiss. But what a great image. I like seeing Nightcrawler finally getting some respect and getting what he deserves. But this character, she's in bondage here too, so it's another twofer. I always like that one. But I really think this is an underrated image here. It's one of my favorite covers. I like that one. Next up, we got The Astonishing X-Men number 14. This has got another beautiful cover done by John Cassaday, and I really like his take on Wolverine locking lips with Emma Frost on this one. And you're like, what? I thought her and Scott Summers, Cyclops, were kind of trying to form a relationship here. And you can tell there's some tension there. This is not a happy kiss, and I like that. It's not romantic. There are other forms of kisses out there, and this is one of them. Oh, I like that, how it tells a story. Next up is Iron Man Kiss and Kill number 1. And it's got a beautiful cover that features Wolverine sharing a kiss with Black Widow. Now that Wolverine, he's another one of those Superman characters that just seems to kiss more other female characters than his fair share. But anyway, this is a beautiful cover. It's one of my favorite images of Wolverine kissing on a cover. And it can only be outdone by this Uncanny X-Men number 394. And it's got, I believe this is a Churchill cover, and it's got an image of Wolverine sharing a kiss with Jean Grey. They finally, front and center, on the cover of a comic book, share a kiss. So you have to wonder, where's Scott Summers? Where's their relationship going on here? Is it another, oh, Jean Grey's about to die, so they'll share a kiss? What's the story here? Why are they kissing? Who knows? Who cares? It's a beautiful Ian Churchill image on the cover of this X-Men comic book. Next up, we got Uncanny X-Men number 289. And another one of the most famous couples in the X-Men mythos is Storm and Forge. And they share a kiss here on the cover, done by Whilce Portacio. And I like that full body image where you get to see all the body language that's put into the kiss also. And you can tell that these two really do love each other. And it's isolated their figures by a white background. And that's a tool that I always think is very effective when it's done well. And that's rare. But in this instance, Whilce Portacio nailed it. All right, last up we got Flinch number 11. And this one is the end result of a kiss. It's the aftermath. And I love the story that this one tells. It's an anthology kind of horror story. And you don't know if the guy made kind of a Frankenstein monster of a woman and a dog or whatever. But why does the woman have the body of a dog? And why are they kissing? Oh, this comic just raises so many questions. And then they're caught by surprise. And the look on their faces is just hilarious. So it's horror mixed with science fiction, mixed with comedy. And it's just well done on this one. This Flinch series was so entertaining. Well, those are my favorite comic book covers that feature a kiss. I want to know what yours are. So let me know. But thanks for joining me. Have a great night.